What's going on, everybody? Good late afternoon. Hope you guys are doing well. And we've got a couple little bits of Seattle Seahawks related news that I want to go ahead and talk about for just a minute. Neither of these items are particularly earth shattering, but I want to go ahead and spend a minute or two on them because they are of note. And then there's one thing that I want to talk about at the end of this video that might take a little bit longer. It's not really that related to the Seahawks anymore, but I do want to discuss it because, well, I'll talk about why in a few minutes here. But a couple of things related to the Seahawks here. First of all, Scott Huff, offensive line coach, did land on his feet. Obviously, he was out in Seattle when we hired Benson. So Scott Huff has found work in the NFL again. I thought maybe he would follow Grubb to Alabama. That has not happened. He has gone to the LA Rams to be their tight end coach. Nick Caley was the tight end coach in LA. He took the Houston OC job because they fired, what was his name? Slowick. So Scott Huff does find more work in the NFL. Not sure if that's going to work out or not. I don't think that Ryan Grubb was good last year. I don't know about Scott Huff. That's a little bit harder to determine. He did oversee Charles Cross's best year as a pro, and I don't think he had a lot to work with on the offensive line. So I don't know if Scott Huff did a bad job or not. I'm very confident that Grubb did a bad job, but with Huff, it's a little bit harder to parse. So maybe he'll do well in this role. Maybe he'll do well in this capacity. But Scott Huff does find more NFL work. That's number one. Number two, we got this from Nemhauser. Well, really, it's from Abe Lucas, and many people, including Nemhauser, are posting it on X. But Abe Lucas posted a video of him lifting weights and working out on Instagram, and the caption that he posted included the words, full range of motion, full flexibility, full control, just getting started. And one thing that Abe Lucas said right after the season ended was he was really excited for this offseason because this was going to be the first offseason since he entered the NFL where he'd be able to actually do a full amount of work. He wouldn't be rehabbing from an injury. He wouldn't be in recovery mode the way he was the last couple of off seasons. So this is definitely exciting. This leads one to believe that Abe Lucas might be about to have his best season, finally have that breakout year we've been waiting for. If he's finally past this injury stuff, great stuff is coming. And it also indicates that the injury that he had that kept him out of the final game of the year against the LA Rams was insignificant. So that's also great news. So, reason to believe that we might be finally getting the Abe Lucas we thought we were getting after 2022. So that's the Seahawks news. There's one more thing I want to get into here in this video because we do have some time. And look, obviously, oh my bad. Well, now they're trying to get my money. I'm sorry, guys, that's not going to happen. Pittsburgh Gazette. I'm sure you're perfectly good writers, but I'm not giving you my money. So this article came out a few days ago, and it's been spreading around the internet. And a lot of the Seahawks adjacent people on X, a lot of the Seahawks beat reporters, a lot of Seahawks people are coming in to kind of sound off on this. Because even though this has really nothing to do with the Seahawks anymore, Russell Wilson is the best quarterback and one of the best players in Seahawks franchise history. And even though he's well removed from anything to do with the Seahawks now, there is some degree of interest in following him here at the end of his career. And I want to talk about this for a little bit because what I just said about Russell Wilson, he is one of the most important players the Seahawks have ever had. And kind of linked up with that, this is so sad to watch. This is so disappointing and depressing to witness. And I feel like that we as Seahawks fans do need to have a conversation about that because it is affecting one of our legends in a way that is clearly bad. So this article got written in the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette a few days ago, February 4th, basically talking about how Russell Wilson and Arthur Smith didn't like each other and they had disagreements on how the Steelers' offense should be run. And Arthur Smith wanted this and Russell Wilson wanted that. And this was a big part of the reason why things went the way that they did at the end of the season, where Pittsburgh lost 5 straight games, blew the division, and then kind of got wiped out in the wild card round. And basically, the gist of the article is it's Arthur Smith's fault. Arthur Smith, I don't know, the implication here is that the Steelers' offense was playing so good, like that one game against the Bengals where they had 500 yards. For some reason, after that game, Arthur Smith told Russell Wilson to stop audibling, and then the fall down happened. So the Steelers have one of their best offensive games in years. They drop over 40 points, 500 yards on a division rival. Not a good defense, but a decent team. The Bengals last year were okay. And Arthur Smith's reaction to that is to tell Russell Wilson to stop doing it and do what he wants to do, and then the offense plays poorly the rest of the season. So makes a lot of sense, right? That's totally believable that one of the best offensive minds in football would say, I don't want to play good, I want to play bad, right? But beyond that, we also have a lot of reports coming out. Now, this is kind of a summary article from Field Goals that was posted. I think this was, just like a couple hours ago, of a bunch of different NFL reporters and guys who know things saying that Russell Wilson is not going to go back to Pittsburgh, that apparently he's not wanted. They don't want him back. Arthur Smith doesn't like him anymore. Tomlin's over him, and they're thinking about moving on to bigger and better things. And it's pretty obvious that this decision has been made for a while. Like, if Pittsburgh had any questions on whether or not they wanted to go forward with Wilson beyond this season, those questions should have been dashed after the way the season ended. So I'm sure they've known for a while this is the way things are going to go. So you have that, and it's obvious. I mean, it's pretty obvious Russell Wilson would know that, and his camp would know that. And then you get articles like this, which are basically trying to say that, oh, it's not my fault. It's the coach's fault. The coach doesn't like me. The coach is unfair. The coach is mean to me. And I talk about this as well, in part because I know what's going to happen in about a month. In about a month, when free agency starts, Seahawks fans are going to come out and start saying the Seahawks need to bring Russell Wilson back for 2025. And that's part of the reason why I want to go ahead and talk about this a little bit now. In a few days, I'm actually going to make a video that in part talks about the possibility of Russell Wilson coming back to Seattle, because it's part of the free agency conversations I'm having. And what I want to say is that I hope that the Seahawks fans out there, if you're watching this video, I hope that the Seahawks fans are figuring out what is going on here. I hope that Seahawks fans are understanding what is going on with Russell Wilson over really the last 4 or 5 years. This is a pattern. This has happened over and over again, and it has happened with future Hall of Famers. It has happened with guys who are considered to be some of the brightest minds in the NFL right now. And it all comes back to the same basic idea that everybody is mean to Russell Wilson. The pattern has been going on for, like, we're coming up on 5 years now. Brian Schottenheimer, Shane Waldron, and by, association, Pete Carroll, Nathaniel Hackett, Sean Payton, now Arthur Smith, and by association, Mike Tomlin. Over and over and over again, Russell Wilson fails to get things done, fails to perform, fails to win the most important games over these last several years, fails to lead a good, successful, productive offense, and over again, we see these reports after the season is over, it's somebody else's fault. It's Pete Carroll's fault. It's Sean Payton's fault. It's Mike Tomlin's fault. All 3 of those guys are probably going to go to the Hall of Fame, by the way. Arthur Smith is one of the most respected and well-regarded offensive minds in football. Not really good head coach, maybe, but great offensive mind. Made Ryan Tannehill look like an MVP candidate. Got elite results out of an offense quarterback by Ryan Tannehill. And who's Ryan Tannehill? Who was Ryan Tannehill in years where he didn't have Arthur Smith? So he can take a decent quarterback and make him look elite. So I I hope that Seahawks fans out there are looking at stuff like this and they're starting to figure this out. Russell Wilson in his late career has turned into a locust. He is a locust. Goes to a location, he burns things down, and then he leaves and he goes to another destination to find more stuff to burn down. And he doesn't care about what bridges he burns on the way out. It's all a PR game to him. That's why you get articles like this. That's why you get stories about how Sean Payton was mean to him and hated him, and all the stuff you heard coming out of Denver. That's why everything gets put on a guy like a Nathaniel Hackett. That's why everything gets put on Pete Carroll. That's why all these things come out, because Russell Wilson and his team, and that includes like his agent and anybody else who is in his camp, will go out there and throw as much mud as possible on everyone else so that he can have some group of defenders. So he can get as many people as possible to believe that he's just the unluckiest man in football. And everywhere he goes, everybody that is presumably on his team actually wants him to fail. And first of all, that's just really sad, right? That's a really, really sad way to go out. To have people that he's paying a lot of money to, and you know that he is. He's paying these people a lot of money. Like Mark Rodgers is getting paid massive money here. Work like this. Like, it's just sad to watch. I don't remember other great quarterbacks at the end of their career doing stuff like this to cover up the fact that they're not good anymore. And as someone who watched Wilson's entire Seattle career, watched every game, watched him win a Super Bowl, go to another Super Bowl, and have many great years here where he was doing a lot of great things, this is a sad way to see him go out. And I hate watching it. It exposes something about Russell Wilson that is very, very bad. This says something very negative about his character, that everywhere he goes, when things go badly, whether it's coming out of his mouth or not, he's doing everything he can to say that it's all someone else's fault, and I can still do this and I can still do that over and over and over again. It says something very bad about him, and it's not fun to learn that this is who he is, but it's happened over and over and over again. I don't know if he's a bad person. I don't think that's fair to say, but he is somebody who clearly only cares about himself and his money. At the end of the day, that is what he cares about more than anything else. And my understanding is that there's still some possibility or some expectation he's going to get a monster contract this offseason. And it seems to me that like everything that's going on here is just him trying to get that one last contract. Who am I going to bilk this time? So as a Seahawks fan, I sincerely hope it's not my team. I sincerely hope it's not my team that gets involved in this. We were lucky enough to have other teams deal with Russell Wilson's downfall, his overpaid, past his prime, washed up years. If we get back involved in it, we kind of erase what we did there. So it's sad to watch, but we are watching it. I mean, I don't know why he's choosing to go out like this, where he just tries to drag everybody else down into the mud and step on them in order to get what he wants, in order to protect his image. But it's also pretty undeniable. It's happened over and over and over again. And some people are going to fall for it. Some people are going to say, oh, yeah, it is. It is Sean Payton's fault. Even though Sean Payton made the playoffs a year later with a rookie quarterback that wasn't even one of the top 5 quarterbacks in his own class. Even though Shane Waldron was able to lead a top 10 offense the year after Russell Wilson leaves with a career journeyman backup in Geno Smith, some people are going to fall for this. Hopefully it's not us. Hopefully we as a Seahawks fan base can see this and understand what's going on. It's the same script that plays out pretty much every offseason now, and it's all in the name of him trying to get that one last big payday. Sad to see, but we are seeing it. See you guys later. Go Hawks. Let me know what you think.